Okay, we're up to the Mishnah on Lamed Zayin Omid Beis. Lamed Zayin Omid Beis. Shor Shel Yisrael Shenagach Shor Shel Hedyet. The shor of Yisrael that goes the shor of a hegdish. The Shel Hegdish Shenagach the shor Shel Hedyet Pata. So the Tanakhama is of the opinion that the shor of hegdish is out of the ballpark of Nezikin. Shneimar Shoreyeu Yidarshkin. The pasuk says Shoreyeu. The pasuk says, "V'chiyigav shor ish eshoreyeu umeis umachres ashorachai." So in the parsha of Tam, this is important. In the parsha of Tam, it says the lashon of shoreyeu, and we're going to darshan that the Tanakhama is going to darshan that the shor of a hegdish, which is not re'ehu, is not in the ballpark at all. So whether you go ahead and gore the shor of a hegdish or the shor of hegdish goes you, it's pata. Shneimar shoreyeu b'la shor shel hegdish. However, Shol Shel Yisrael Shenagach l'Shor Shel Kanani, Pata, because again, Re'eu, V'Shor Shel Kanani Shenagach l'Shor Shel Yisrael Bein Tam Bein Mud Nezek Shalei. So the Gemara is going to ask if it's out of the ballpark. The guy should be out of the ballpark completely. Also, just like if you gore the guy, you're out. The guy that goes you should also be out. Yet no, he's in the parsha of the Zikin. So two statements: the first clause regarding Hegdish, the second clause regarding a guy. And the Tanakhama is of the opinion that Hegdish is bechlal completely out. Whether you go Hegdish or Hegdish goes you, you're out. We will have a conflicting opinion in the Gemara. Masnisan like Reb Shimon ben Asya. Am Mishnah is not like Reb Shimon ben Asya, who we met earlier in the Masechta. The Tanya. Shor shel hedyet shenagach shor shel Hegdish. V'shel Hegdish shenagach shor shel hedyet pata. This is the Tanakhama statement. Shneimar Shariyeyu v'lo shor shel Hegdish. Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe is of the opinion, Shor Shel Hegdish Shenagach Shor Shel Hedyet is pata. The shor of Hegdish that goes the shor of Hedyet is pata. The Shel Hedyet Shenagach Shor Shel Hegdish Bein Tam Bein Muid Mishalei Nezek Shalim. So Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe is clear. Hegdish, if it goes you, is out. Hegdish, if it goes you, is out. But if you go it's Nezek Shalim. Okay? Let me give you my skun of this. Why is shor of Hegdish out if it goes you? Why is the shor of Hegdish out if it goes you? Because it says by Hegdish, v'huit b'bolov. And you have to go ahead and ba'olov. So therefore, by the parsha, by mu'it, it says v'huit b'bolov. And there's no bal over here. It's Hegdish. By tam, it says v'chiyigov shor ish. Hegdish is not an ish. So the parsha of Tam and Mu'id are out of the ballpark of Hegdish, either because there's no Baal or because there's no ish. Good? That's the tzad that Hegdish goes you, it's pata. What's the tzad that you go Hegdish Yechayiv Nezek Shalem? Because it says Re'eu in the parsha of Tam. It says Re'eu in the parsha of Tam. If it wanted to tell you that it's out completely, right, it should have said Re'eu by Mu'id. Why does it say Re'eu by Tam? To tell me everything is b'chlal nezek shalem, everything. And then it says by Tam to be machmir, Tam by Re'ehu, but not Tam by Hegdish. Hegdish still remains nezek shalem. So regarding Hegdish goring you, we have a huad b'balav by Mu'id, we have the chiyuv of ish by Tam out. What about you goring Hegdish? Everything's in the ballpark of nezek shalem, everything. So if we want to take you out of going Hegdish out, it should have said by Mu'id Re'ehu, but it doesn't. It says Re'ehu by Tam. Why? It's to teach you by Mu'id, you are in the ballpark if you go Hegdish. And when it says Re'ehu by Tam, you're still in the ballpark by Hegdish, because it says Re'ehu by Tam, but not by Mu'id. So Tam is to be Machmed or Hegdish, you still pay Nezek Shalem. That's the maskana of the Gemara, Lefi the Shita of Rav Shimon ben Asya. Says the Gemara inside. Okay. Here's the Gemara. Micah suffer Reb Shimon, dafka. If Reb Shimon's of the opinion that Re'eu is dafka, right? Afila shel hedyet shenaga shel hegdish pot lifter. Then even if you go hegdish, it should be pata. Be Re'eu lav dafka. I feel the hegdish nami ki naga hedyet lechayev. Hegdish mechayev. And mamishak, you're paying two sides of the fence. You know the answer already. Chitei ma'olam suffer Re'eu dafka. Umiya the hedyet ki nagach the hegdish hayim time the mechayev mishum the kamaisle mekal v'chaymer behedyet uma hedyet shenagach shel hedyet chayev ki nagach the hegdish they call shekain the mechayev. So then it's a kal v'chaymer that you should be chayiv. Says, so why you be chayiv nesek shalom? That yolo minadin lias kanidin. Where you're learning it from is chatzi nesek. You should be limited to chatzi nesek, right? So why nesek shalom? Malahala tam chatzi nesek. Hachanami by hegdish nami chatzi nesek. El omreish lakish. Hakol hoyim chal nesek shalom. Everything. Sai tam. Sai hegdish and sai hedyid is in the ballpark of nesek shalom. Because sheparlecha kosev reyehu gabe tam. And when it said Re'eu by Tam, Re'eu who the Tam Mishalim Chatzi Nesek, Mechal the Hegdish, Bein Tam, Bein Mamuid, Mishalik Nesek Shalim, the Imkain, because if you did a pata, if you wanted a pata by Hegdish, Nichtav Kol Lahai Re'eu Gabi Muid, you should have said Re'eu by Muid. So again, this is what we spoke at earlier. Let's just reiterate. If you wanted to go ahead and say that you're out of the ballpark, you should have said Re'eu by Muid. And I know that only by the parsha of Mu'id, there's only Re'eu. There's no Hegdish whatsoever. You didn't say that. You know why? Because by Mu'id, there is Hegdish. You don't need Re'eu by Mu'id. You do not need Re'eu by Mu'id to be chayiv. Even without Re'eu, you're chayiv. Hegdish is chayiv nesek shalim. It says tam by what? It says tam by Hedyet. You know why? It's to go ahead and illustrate. Only by Hedyet is the chatzi nesek. By what? By Re'eu. By Hegdish is only nesek shalim. We're saying right now. Okay. Sure. What about a goy? We said the same thing by a goy. That a goy, the Tanakama said, if you damage a goy, you're pata. But if a goy damages you, right? You have if a goy damages you, whether it's a tam or a muad pays nesek shalim. Let's go ahead and play both sides of the fence. If Re'eu is dafka, then he should be parta for you also, just like Hegdish is parta for you, right? Says the Gemara, Ami Manushach. Ireu dafka, the Kanani kinagach Yisrael nami lifter. Ireu lav dafka, and if Re'eu is lav dafka, I feel the Yisrael kinagach the Kanani nechayev. So in Manushach, where does Tanakama get this in? If you go a guy, you're potter, but if a guy goes you, pays nezek shalim. Amar Ravo Amakra, really fellas, he should be potter. Really, he should be potter. But there's a pasuk in Chabakuk. The pasuk says in Chabakuk, Amad v'yemoidei eretz ro v'yater goyim. Amad v'yemoidei eretz ro v'yater goyim. What does that mean? What does that mean? Says the Gemara. Says the Gemara. Ro HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw Sheva mitzvahs shekibetz aleihem b'nei Noach. So Sheva mitzvahs shekiblu aleihem b'nei Noach. They were makabel 7 mitzvahs. Since they didn't keep the Sheva mitzvahs, Amad HaKadosh Baruch Hu stood up. Amad v'yemoidei. He stood up. V'yemoidei. He measured it, and the hitter money Yisrael v'yater goyim, and he matted the money of the goyim. He matted the money of the goyim. So therefore, their money is hefka. So Mamela, if it goes you pay Nezek Shalim. That's the limit. Really, Al Sreyehu, it should be parta completely. You know why a guy that's Nezek Shalim is because since they don't keep the Zayim mitzvahs, he would punish. They didn't keep the Zayim mitzvahs, they mafkid the money to Yisrael. Rabbi Yechon Amar, Mehacha, he has a different pasuk. Haifiyah Mehaparan, and make a drasha. Kadosh Baruch Hu went to all the nations of the world, and he offered them the Torah. And Haifiyah Mimoinam Yisrael. Kadosh Baruch Hu was megaling their money to Yisrael, and he matted their money. So according to Rabbi Vo, it's from the pasuk of Chafar Akok of Amad v'Yemoidei. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's Haifiyah Mehapara. Tanya Nami Hachi. We have a brisa that substantiates the statement of the Amoraim, Rabbi Vo, Rabbi Yochanan. Shosha Yisrael Shenagach Shoshel Kanani Pata. Shosha Kanani Shenagach Shosha Yisrael Bein Tam Bein Mu'id Mishalim Nezek Shalim Shnemar. This is Rabbi Vo's pasuk. Amad v'Yemoidei Eretz Ra v'Yat Goyim v'Oimer. In addition, not the pasuk of Rabbi Yochanan. Haifiyah Mehapara. My Oimer. Why do you need the second pasuk? V'chitema. Hi, the pasuk of Amad v'Yemoidei Eretz is miboile l'chidr of Master l'chidr of Yosef. Hashema Haifiyah Mehapara v'Paran Haifiyah Meisra. We're going to see in a second that this pasuk of Amad v'Yemoidei was learned by 2 different Amoraim for different halachas, by Rav Masna and Rav Masna, who was the son of Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi had the Gemara in Brachas fellas that Rabbi Yochanan buried 10 sons, and he used to carry around the bone of his 10 sons to go ahead and be menachim people. He had an 11th son. Rabbi Nissen Goy says over there, the son of Masna. Masna was his son, and he was sent by Rabbi Yochanan to learn by Shmuel in Bavel. Okay, so Rabbi Masna is going to use this pasuk for one thing. Rabbi Yosef is going to use it for another thing, and therefore I can't use it to matter the money of Yisrael that a guy would pay Nezek Shalim, right? And therefore we have the pasuk of V'fiyam Paron to teach me that a guy pays Nezek Shalim. Good. Now let's just meet Rabbi Masna and Rabbi Yosef uses this for, and that will go ahead and segue into Agadata, one of the few dafim of Agadata in Bava Kama, and as a fluid-ridden Maggid Shir is very happy to go ahead and have a little Agadata at this time. It was very serendipitous that it went ahead and showed up. When I saw this daf, I said to myself, Baruch Hashem, very famous Agadata. It says there, my Rav Masna, what did Rav Masna say? What did he dash him from the pasuk of Amid V'Yemoidei? Dom Rav Masna, Amid V'Yemoidei Eretz Ra, Ma Ra, what HaKadosh Baruch Hu see? Ra Sheva Mitzvah Shenestavu Aleim Bnei Noach Leikimu. He saw the 7 mitzvahs that Bnei Noach did not keep, and therefore, Amad V'Higlu Eson Yalad Mason, he put them in dollars. So it's not speaking about mattering their money, guys. It's not speaking about mattering money. He said he threw them out. You know, in the first Rashi's in the Torah, why does we have to know about Bereshis Bara Elokim? Is a Koyach Ma'aseh Tigel La'amai. Because Baruch Hu created the world, and the Canaanim can't say to us, listen, you're what? You're Yomi guys. You're a bunch of robbers. You went ahead and you took away our land, and therefore we're entitled to it. So therefore we say, because Baruch Hu created it, he can give it to whoever he wants to. So now we're getting a reason. You know why the Canaanim were thrown out of Eretz Yisrael? The Canaanim were thrown out of Eretz Yisrael because they didn't keep the Zayim Mitzvahs. They didn't keep the Zayim Mitzvahs. And therefore, that's what Rav Masna uses it for. And therefore, you need the pasuk of Hayfiyami HaParon to teach me that why they goy who damages the Jew pays Nezek Shalim. Umay Mashma, the Hayfiyat there, it says Vayat Goyim, Lishna Daglui, who it's a Lishna of Galus. Ksiv, it says Hacha Vayat Goyim, Ksiv Hasam, it says by a Sheretz, it says Lanata Behem Al Aretz. It says Achesoy Tochlu Nikol Sheretz Oif. These little flying insects. These things, they jump. Like I guess they jump around like grasshoppers or different things they fly, they jump around, right? So that lesson of the kapitz is to jump off the land. But with Targum, the Targum of Lenata Behem Alaretz is Lekafsa Behem Alara, to jump on the land. Umayt Rav Yosef, okay, what was Rav Yosef's din limud that he learned from Omad V'Yemoidei, that we can't apply it to being mafka the money, mata the money, being megala the money. My Darsh, Dam Rabbi Yosef, Amar v'yemoided eretz ra, ma ra sheva mitzvahs shekiblu alem b'nei noach leikimu. He didn't. So Amar v'tiru lehem, right? He went and he mated them. He said, you don't have to do them anymore. In other words, you didn't keep it. You don't have to do it anymore. Fred the Gemara, it guri it hager. You don't get give him schar. In other words, great. Can you imagine, fellas? You know, you speak so much lashon hara. Okay, it's mutter. What are you telling me? So what does that mean? Like Baruch. Anyway, so what are you telling me over here? Tell me over here. Like it says the Gemara in Cain, Matzina chayt nischar. You find the chayt is nischar. So you find the sinner gains. So Amamar Bereid Ravina. You didn't have to see that. Okay. So Amamar Beravina, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that that they get off the hook. Don't Kadosh Baruch doesn't let it hook so quickly. You know what? It's not pshat mated them. He said that what you really have to keep them, but even when you keep them, you're not going to get schar. Okay, so let's go. Why do we see? We're sort of following. We went ahead. We want to know this. It did in the Mishnah. The Mishnah states that if a Jew damages a guy, he's pata. If a guy damages a Jew, it's nezek shalim. Fred the Gemara Re'ehu. If Re'ehu was dafka, then we should go ahead and it should be pata completely. That even if a guy damages us, it should be pata. And for the Gemara Nachinami, they are. But the pasuk says, "Amar v'yemoidei v'yata lehem." Hakadosh Baruch Hu mated their money, or Hayfim ha'para, because accepted the Torah, right? Why the one brings a brisa. Rabbi Vo said that Rabbi Yochanan said Hafiyah Me'apar, and the brisa says V'oimer as Hafiyah by second pasuk. We're asking why do you need that second pasuk for? You need it for people who learn the pasuk Amid V'Yamoydei to refer to different aspects, but it's not speaking about being mat in the money. Late Rav Masna, right? Late Rav Masna, it was speaking about that they were Golos, they went into Golos. And late Rev Yosef was speaking that what they lost this schar for the mitzvah. Since they went ahead and spoke about two different things, not money, I need the pasuk for my paron to tell me he mated their money that they pay nesek sholim if they damage us. That's where we're holding right now. Says the Gemara Veloy, you mean to tell me that Goyim they're not mekabel schar for the Sheva mitzvah Vatanya Remei Oimer Minayin Shafilu Nachri Voisik B'Torah Shuka Kohen Gadol. How do you know a Nachri who's Isaac B'Torah? Like what? He has a din of a Kohen Gadol. How do you know that he has a din of a Kohen Gadol? Right? Rashi Tosis, I think, brings Kohen Gadol. Rashi Hadanaka Kohen Gadol Mishum V'Dashin V'Saita Yikori Mifninim Kohen Gadol. That Torah is more is Yaka like the Kohen Gadol. Nicholas L'Fnai L'Fnim that goes inside. That's Yaka Mifninim Lashon going L'Fnai L'Fnim. A very good Mar Makam over here, guys. I've spoken out many times. I don't have a good koich to speak it out now. Is a Meshech Chochma at the end of Parshas Vayera. Meshech Chochma at the end of Parshas Vayera, where Avram Avinu sends Yitzchak to learn the Yeshiva Shem Ve'ever. It's a beautiful, beautiful Meshech Chochma. If you have a desire to go nice one, and he brings in this Gemara. Anyway, says the Gemara Vaita. So you see that he is Mekabel Schar. Sheyasa Sam Adam V'Chai B'Hem. The pasuk says, Asher Yasa Adam V'Chai B'Hem. Kahanim B'Leviim Yisraelim Le'Nemar. It doesn't say Asher Yasa Kahanim Leviim Yisraelim. It says Asher Yasa Adam. So Ela Adam Holamarata Shafilu Nachri Vaisip B'Torah. If the Nachri at Vaisip B'Torah, Ayuki Kohen Gadol. So you see that Asher Yasa Adam Ha'Adam V'Chai B'Hem. That even a guy is Vaisip B'Torah V'Chai B'Hem. So Gemara says that Ein Mekam Leim Schar K'Mitzuv Vaisa. The Makabel Schar, not like a person who's commanded to, but a person not commanded to. So it's mashma the following. It's mashma had they not sinned, they would have gotten schar. Like a person is mitzvah, you mitzvah and zayim mitzvahs. So what HaKadosh Baruch Hu do, he saw they weren't. So now they will get schar, but only k'misha in a mitzvah. He took away that aspect of in a mitzvah. That this is part of the Meshech Chochma there. It's a very, very that's a very interesting thing, fellas. How come a guy's kever is not metama tonas oil? Because it says Adam kiyamis ba'oil. Atem nikra Adam, ve'ein atem nikra Adam. You're called Adam, but they're not called Adam. Yet over here, the Gemara is saying that they are called Adam because the pasuk says because the pasuk says Asher Yasa Isa Ha Adam v'Chai B'Hem. Right. So you see that a guy is called Adam. So Rabbeinu Tam makes the chilik. He says there's a difference between the word Adam and Ha-Adam. Right? Ha-Adam is mashma afilu a guy. Adam would be mashma what? Only a Jew. As a matter of fact, one of the famous trials of the 20th century was the Baelish trial. At the turn of the century, there was a blood libel in Tsarist Russia. And they brought and it was really Judaism was under being judicial, being watched and seeing what's going on there with the Jews. And you can imagine, they had all these people came together, all the Gedolim came together, and they anticipated any possible question that would come up. And they fed the lawyer. The lawyer was a Jewish guy. He wasn't from. They fed him any possible answer. One of the questions that was asked is, that you don't consider Jewish people do not consider Goyim anything. It says Adam Kiyamis Ba'il, and you don't consider us anything like. So therefore you can kill us. So the Rabbi Shapiro, the leader Rav, had touched this pasuk Adam Kiyamis Ba'il, because if a person would go ahead and a guy would kill somebody and be accused of a blood libel, how many people would show up? He goes, right now, this Jew, this guy Baelish Nebuch, is being tried, and all the Klal Yisrael is behind him. That's other Kiyamis Ba'il. We consider ourselves one other. That was the Rabbi Shapiro's answer on this pasuk Adam Kiyamis Okay. Tarabana. The Malchus of Rome, they sent two Shaitrim. The Malchus of Rome, they were very interested. They wanted to know what's the story with the Jews. And they sent the Malchus of Rome, Malchus of Russia. They sent two Shaitrim, Eitzel, Chachmei Yisrael, and they wanted Lamdu to harass them, teach us your Torah. So Karu, B'Shana, B'Shilshah, they taught us 3 times. Shas Peti Rasam, when he left these two Saditios, Amalehem, they told him, they daknu b'kol teraskem. The emissary, we looked in all your Torah, and it's true. Chutz midav zeh, and one thing they found problematic. Shatoim shosha Yisrael shenag shosha kanani pata, shal kanani shenag shosha Yisrael bein tam bein mu mishan desik shalim. That's the one thing they had problems with. The manusha, ireu dafka. I feel the kanani kinag Yisrael lifter. Ireu lav dafka. I feel the Yisrael kinag l'siv l'chayev. In other words, the dav zeh. You know, my dear, myself, but you don't have to worry. You know, we're not going to go ahead and spill the beans. But it's amazing that all they learn Kol Torah cool with them. This is the biggest problem they had, right? This is the biggest problem they had. Shmuel bar Yehuda Shchiva, they bought that. Shmuel bar Yehuda, his daughter was Nifta. His daughter was Nifta. Amule Rabban Leula. The Rabban told Ula, Kum Nezel Menachem. Let's go ahead and be Menachem. So Amalahu. Ula told him, Ula was married to Israel. What kind of nichum avel do you do? Think you do for who? You go ahead and you're a gadif. You go ahead and you blaspheme HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Amim, you say, my efshel lemevad. Well, what could you possibly do? Mashma efshel lemevad of the. So mashma what? If you had the power to do something, you would have done it. Kadosh Baruch Hu, this is what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. And you say, if we had the power, we would have done something. And even if you had the power, you couldn't do anything. So he didn't like the way they were at. They were Menachem Abel, so Ula decided he's not going to accompany these Babylonians. However, despite the fact that he didn't accompany them, he has to do a mitzvah. He went alone. Ula told Shmuel bar Yehuda. The pasuk says, "Vayom Hashem Eli al totzer esmayav." Do not shepherd Moav, but tiskar ba milchama. You think Moshe would have gone to Moab, Shloi B'Shus, Ella, Shenasa Moshe Kal V'Chomer B'Yatzma, Moshe made a Kal V'Chomer, V'Amar, Umay B'Yonim, Shloi Bo, Ella, Lazarus, Moab. Midyon came to go ahead and help Moab. They hired Balak, right? Balak hired Bilam, Balak Melech Moab hired Bilam, Melech hired the Midyonim. They would go ahead, they were Machshal Kal Yisrael business. So, what does it say regarding them? So, Avalayim Tarat Sarah, that's how Yadim, you should hate the Midyanim, right? Because like some on the days, and you should totally destroy them. So, who would you think is more guilty over here? Midyan, who did the action, or Mov, who hired them to do the action? So, Moshe made a Kal V'Chomer, Uman Midyanim, who did it, right? There's a mitzvah to go ahead and go to war against Moav, which hired them. Like Kol Shekain. So Moshe would go ahead and have a Kal V'Chomer. That's considered like since Yugam Elmila Shatar in the Dreshes Behem, the first one's Kal V'Chomer. So that's like a key. Okay, if you can dash in the Yugam Elmilas, then Moshe had every single right to go to war against Moab. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vayam like Kol Shekain, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu therefore had a need like also Maldaitrim. It's not like you were thinking also IT when I'm like. I have two, Rashi says, guys, like two pigeons, two good pigeons to come out from Moab, Amana Moab. Rus the Moavia, Venama Amonis. Rus, the foremother of David, and Nama, who was Amonis, was the mother of Rechavam, who was the wife of Shlomo. The whole reason they existed was for Rus. And for Nama, and Kadosh Baruch Hu had Rachmanis on them. Le'achrivam Bita Shal Rabbi in Ksherihi, the daughter of Shmuel bar, the daughter of Shmuel bar Yehuda. If she was what? If she was Ksherihi to keep on living, if anything would have came out of a good, Alachas Kama V'Kama Davechaya. Now, if you think about that, it doesn't seem like the biggest nichem in the world, right? In other words, it seems what kind of nichem is this? In other words, nothing good to come in. It's mamish difficult to understand. I think shots like this, guys. Every person in the world has a tafkid. You look at our prism in life. When we look at life, how do you see a person who is challenged, a person who is, as they call them, learning disabled or mentally deficient. We don't use the word retarded anymore. There's a word developmentally, challenged. There are different words, different buzzwords for people. Now we know that the Chazon Ish used to stand up for such a person because this person is a neshama. That God is a special neshama, and he's down in this world for a purpose. Who did every person? Every person has a purpose. The people in this world that say a woman never gets married. A woman never gets married, right? So Pshat, she didn't fulfill a purpose because she didn't have children, or she had a different tafkid in this world. Every person has their tafkid. You don't know what the tafkid is. And I think that's what he was telling him. He was telling Shmuel Bar Yehuda, if your daughter was supposed to live and have children, Hashem would have allowed it. But obviously she had a higher calling, a different tafkid, and she would have fulfilled that tafkid already. Maybe that's bad, the panemius of the union, to understand why he was telling her. That might make a little sense. That make a little sense out of a very difficult idea what I told. Okay, I'm getting the thumbs up from about Avi, so I'm happy. Orlando Avi. By the way, I heard that from Shmuley Bornstein, so I can't take credit for it. Amar Rav Chia, Arab, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. In a Kadosh Baruch Hu mekapeich schar kol beria. Kadosh Baruch Hu will not hold back the schar of any creature. I feel the schar sichana, even the schar of a nice word, a nice expression. The ilu bechira. Okay, now you know the Maisa with Lot and his daughters. Just have to give me 2 seconds, fellas. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, we know the Maisa with Lot and his daughters. The end of Parshas Vayera. No, the end of Parshas Lech Lecha. They had Lot and I don't know. I think it's in Vayera. Excuse me, not the end. It's the Parsha. It's Parsha Yutes. It says that he destroys Sodom. Lot is saved. Lot's wife is wiped out. She becomes a pillar of salt. Therefore, the 2 daughters felt they were the only females left in the world to repopulate the world. And they got their father drunk. The first one, Bechira, lies with the father as a child. That child consequently is called Mina'av Moav. And the second child, the Tzira, lies with her and has a child, and it's a male, and it's called Benam. There's Ramban there, fellas, who speaks out that very famously that Ben Noach is mutter bebitoi. Ben Noach is mutter and his daughter. It's not one of the Gili Aroyas of Shev Mitzvahs, the Mitzvah and Aroyas, but it's not one of them. Is not you think it's incest? It's not. Now it was never done before, and it was never done before. And Lot ended up with his daughters because he was mafka with his daughters when the men of Sodom approached the house. So it's really a shver union, but they acted, and as a result, they were kept alive. Moav, for that 2 actions, they had 2 things. They had Am and Moav, and we had spoken out of Moshe in Akdamat Ches, famous story about the person who had a dream, and they came to him with the dream, and they told him the cheshbon because he had bad-mouthed them, and they told him the cheshbon that they don't want you to think that their salvation was Sodom was a mess, so that their impregnation was a mess also, and that would have started a new Yados, a new Natsrus, and therefore they dafkin named the kids that you should know come from Vasa Badam. We spoke that out, so I'm not going to elaborate upon it. Anyway, so here we're picking it up over here. The story, what happened over here. He doesn't hold back schar any living thing. I feel the schar sifana, even the schar of something sifana, a good term. Don't go ahead, man, and shepherd with Moab with the stock and Bamulchama. You can shepherd with them, but not Angaria Mashma. You can go ahead and mishabed them. You can be mishabed them. So that was Sira the Karm Ben Ami, Amalekos Broch Moshe, the Karaf, the Mol Bnei Amoin, Al Titsurim, Matiska Bam Klau, that feel Angaria Yavibu, that even an Angaria you should do. So the Ben Moab, you could do an Angaria. Why? Because she said Mina'av, and it was not such a nice lashon to announce that it came from the father. Mashen came Ben Ami, which hid the father a little bit more. So therefore it was us to even go ahead and mishabed them. Person should go ahead and series the mitzvahs. The night that the Bechira preceded the Tzira, Kadmasa Arba Dairis Yisrael. 4 generations of Yisrael were what? She came in earlier. In other words, Moab came in 4 generations before Ammon. What do you have 4 generations? Oved was the son of Lus, Yishai was the son of Oved, David, and Shlomo. 4 generations. Vilut Seira Ad Rechavam. It was the 5th generation. Rechavam. That's when Shlomo married Nama, and then Rechavam came about as a result of that union. Ichsiv Shem Ichsiv the Shem Imoy Nama HaAmonis, and the name of his mother was Nama HaAmonis. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled program. Nice prelude, but not difficult. Shosha Yisrael Shenagach Shoshal Kuti Pata. Okay, so we discussed Hegdish, we discussed Kanani, and now we enter Kuti. What's the difference between Kuti and Kanani? There's a machloikis throughout Shas. We're familiar with the Kutim were Geri Emesane, where they were really Gerim, or they were Geri Arroyos. They were Gerim as a result of an infest of lions eating them up. In the end, it turned out that they ended up serving a getchka from a type of bird. They served and ended up that they were Geri Arroyos. They weren't real Gerim. But throughout Shas, we had the machloikis till it was ascertained that they were Geri Arroyos. Now, it says the Gemara, Shoshal Kuti Pata, Shalkuti Shenag Shosh Yisrael, Tam Mishalim Chatzinesek, Mul Mishalim Nesek Shalim. So Tam, this is different than a Kanani. By a Kanani, the Kanani paid Nesek Shalim. Over here, the Kuti is paying what? Chatzinesek. Shosh Yisrael Shenag Shosh Kuti Pata. He agrees with the Tanakama. However, Shalkuti Shenag Shosh Yisrael, Bein Tam Bein Mul Nesek Shalim. Remeya treats them like a regular guy, right? Because you're going to pay Nezek Shalim, just like a Kanani will pay Nezek Shalim, you'll pay Nezek Shalim. The Savra, Remeya, Kuti Geri Arroyos saying that Remeya is of the opinion that Kuti were Geri Arroyos, that Kuti were Geri Arroyos. Okay? We're in on this, you stira. Okay, a little background. We know there's in Hilchas Nida that if a woman sees during a certain period of time with a hargasha that she felt it coming out, that is she's a nida. If she finds it on her clothing without a hagasha, that's called a kesem. The kesem is what? Is the rabbanon in nature. Goyim, there's no parsha of nida by Goyim. However, they were geyser on them. There is a parsha of nida, there's a hagasha. But the kesem of a goy would not be tummy. Since only the rabbanon would not be tummy, the kesem would not be tummy. That nida is tummy. Okay? So the rabbanon, so with that in mind. Kol kesamim habayim rekem. Rekem is we have from the Sechner, Rekem Mizrach, by we had about the Sechner Gittin, Kol Kasam Abayim Rekem Tahirim, they're all Tahar, because we're going to say that what they're Goyim. Rabbi Yehuda Mitame, finishing Gerim, V'Toyim, we did the business of them because the Gerim, they make a mistake. V'Bein HaNachrim, if you find the Kesem, V'Bein HaNachrim Tahirim, V'Bein Yisrael, V'Bein HaKutim, Rabbi Mitame, there's your kasha, guys. Remeya holds that the Geri Arroyo is saying that it should be Tahar, they should be Tameh. The Kesem should be Tameh. The fact that the Kesem's Tameh shows he holds them to be Jewish. The Chum B'Tayrim, Shlei Nechshu Al Kesmeya, Al Maksav Remeya Kutu Geri Emesim. The fact that Remeya's Metamek Samim, he shows them as the Kutumar Geri Emesim. Amra Avo Kanasu Shikonas Remeya B'Maydam, Shlei Tamu Behem. Be'emesmat, he held them with Geri Arroyos, and they really were Goyim. But to go ahead and keep us away from them, that we should have anything to do with them, right? He went ahead and said that some were what, they were Tameh. And that by this, we're going to go ahead and avoid any business transaction with them, anything staying away from them. These are the Nairas that have Kanas, right? If you're honest, honest, there's a parsha of 50, you have to marry her and you have to pay 50. These are Nairas that have Kanas. Even though you can't marry her, there's a parsha of Kanas. That's the Gevoinim that David was Geyser. So even though you can't marry them, there's Kanas. Kutim, there's a Kanas. Now, 1 second. If you want to go ahead and stay away from them, if a Kuti girl knows that she's raped, she's not going to pay anything. She's not going to go near you, right? So why would a mayor say that what? That there's a din of Kanas? Now, this is a Stam Mishnah. Stam Mishnah is a mayor. If you suck it like the Kanas of a mayor, right? The mayor should have gone ahead and done what? And said, guess what? You can be my honest son, there's no Kanas. And that would guarantee there would be no what? Interpersonal relationship with the Kutim. Unless it's a Kashan Reb Meir, because Stanish is Reb Meir. Rabbi is Rabbi. what's going to happen? You'll be really the Geri Arayas, and really you shouldn't have to pay anything. Why? Because I hold in like the Goyim, and they really shouldn't be Knas. The reason the Knas is the Shleich in this guy. This guy should go ahead, be minus a girl and get away with it. So it's going, okay, I have an Eitzah. Okay, we don't want anything to do with them. So you don't want the Chayt to be Nisra. So don't give the money to them. Give the money to Aniyim. In other words, if you're ma'anis a goy, kuti, it's like if you're ma'anis a goy, there's no kanas like this. But I shleit in nischa. Okay, you won't be nischa. You're going to lose money. You're going to lose money to Aniyim, but don't give it to the goy, to the kutim. Amarav mari mishum dahavi mamet shem l'toivim. The problem is if you're going to say to give it to Aniyim, who's going to be toiveya? It's a general statement. Bishleim, if it's a specific person, then they're going to be toiveya. They want to make a claim. Mashenkin, if it's Aniyim, it's too indescript, and therefore what? It's not going to go ahead and advertise them. Therefore, they were goysa. But in a chinami, that according to Rabbi, that the Geri Arayah is saying, and therefore you have to pay Nesek Sholim, the same, they would have to pay Nesek Sholim, the same as Kanani, who imated to the pasuk of what, either the pasuk of that, from the pasuk from Chabakuk, that they went ahead and they said, Amad v'yamaydei, or the pasuk of what of Haifemi HaParag of Rabbi Yochanan. Thank you all for listening. I apologize for my voice.